All right, we're going to go over the pieces of this template that will all be found in the method section. That will be the method and design, the sample and mode of determining sample, the procedures, the analysis methods, and then that'll be it. Then the analysis methods. So those pieces will all be within the method section. So going through here, in terms of method and design, method can be one of three options. You have a qualitative, a quantitative, or a mixed methods. So qualitative research has to do with words. It relies on interviews, observations, or document analysis, period. That's it. So the quantitative stuff is going to have to do with statistics. So you're seeing a lot of statistics, correlations, t-tests, ANOVA, all these kinds of statistical tests that are out there. That's all quantitative. They gather data that can be converted into numbers, or it came in numbers naturally. In terms of design, we're talking about within qualitative research. Was it an interview? Was it, a lot of times they'll actually identify it as phenomenological or grounded theory or different things like that. So just you want to keep an eye out for what kinds of things they did. Then the sample has to do with who were the participants. And then the mode of determining was how were they selected. So was it a convenience sample, which means that just whoever showed up was taken for the study who could participate? Or were they purposefully selected, where the researchers went out and they looked at a specific group with specific characteristics? Those are the kinds of things that you want to know. The procedures has to do with the type of data collected, and then the analysis methods have to do with what do they do to find results? What kinds of statistical tests did they run if they did a quantitative study? Or how did they look at the data, all of these words, and get meaning from them if it was qualitative? So let's take a look at this in this study. For method, it starts out, data were collected from 171 teachers in 5 elementary and 3 middle schools in Baltimore on the teachers' attitudes and practices of parent involvement. The 8 schools were selected at random from a set of comparable Chapter 1 schools in economically and educationally disadvantaged neighborhoods to begin a 3-year initiative to improve parent involvement programs and practices. Well, there we didn't get to our method and design, but we got to our sample. So you could say 171 teachers, randomly selected schools, and purposively selected frame. So we call that a population frame. So they actually got a large number of schools that were potentially going to be used. And then from that frame of schools, from that group of schools, which they were using the Chapter 1 schools, from that group, they randomly selected 3. So you'd put all of that in here. Now, if you don't know all of these terms, a sample frame and all those things, you don't have to say that. You just say they selected Chapter 1 schools, randomly selected 3 of those, and then got 171 teachers from these 3 schools. So just use the language you have, the language that you see reflected in the article. Don't worry about the jargon. The jargon you'll kind of pick up as you go along or as you get lessons in future modules. But at this point, this is all that you need to try to do. And also, I got to say, don't try to get it perfect in the first try. This is an iterative process. You're going to learn as you go. And if you select something that's not quite right, that's okay, because that's an opportunity for you to get some feedback from your instructor and to learn a little bit more about how to read these articles correctly. All right, so that's the sample. We still don't really have a great idea of the method, so keep going. Teacher representatives, they attended a summer workshop. They got 3 years of support. So we had a questionnaire that was 10 questions with 100 pieces of information. So there are questions and sub-questions about all of these items here, which I'm not going to read now. 2 stages of analysis were conducted. First, descriptive statistics. Right there, boom, we know it was a quantitative study, that there were descriptive statistics, and this all talks about all the different descriptive statistics they have. That's mean, median, mode, standard deviation, that kind of stuff is called descriptive statistics. And then second, the data are combined for more formal analyses of patterns and connections. So when you have the word connections, I would think that's a correlational study. So what kinds of factors went together? And you can see here, correlates, right here, this word correlates has to do with a correlational study. So you can, now I'd be okay if you don't understand that jargon. I would be okay with you just kind of taking this first sentence and copying it over. But this is for method and design, this is a quantitative correlational study. And you'll kind of learn how to determine that more quickly as you go along. We already have the sample. The procedures had to do with a summer training, a survey that was given, and then an analysis. Now, the analysis has to do with a correlational analysis. So once you get to results, you need to stop. So it basically says there were correlations of the 5 types of involvement to validate the typology and demonstrate the importance of school climate for parental involvement. So I'll tell you what the analysis method is. It's called a Pearson's R, but you're not going to know that. So the analysis method was, you could just put statistical analysis. Something as simple as that would do just fine for this section. All right, so I hope that you're getting that the big idea here is that you pull what you can from the article, use the language that you know. Don't worry about the jargon right now. Just try to figure out what was done in the study and then report that as much as succinctly as you can on this template. All right, thanks.